All right, fourth and fifth graders, we are going to make monster pinch pots today. They are going to be made out of the pinch pots we learned how to make in first grade. So we'll start off with how to do a pinch pot, and then I'm going to show you how to add details. Last week we sketched those out, so we already have what we are going to create in our minds. So we are putting the chunk of clay that I give you into our hands. We're gonna go back and forth, squeeze and rotate. I'm not throwing it back and forth. That doesn't really do anything. So you squeeze and rotate. When it's close to the ball shape, you roll it in your hands. You do not want to roll it on the table. The table's flat, your hands are round. So we want to keep it round. Remember, the more you play with clay, the more it dries out. Your hands suck all that moisture out of the clay. So we don't want to try to get it perfect. We just want to get it into an roundish shape. Then you are going to stick your thumb straight down into it. Yes, it's going to get all over your fingernails, under your fingernails. It's going to be nasty and gross, but deal with it. Before you go home from school today, that clay will be out of that fingernail, so you don't have to worry about it. We don't want to push down this way. We want straight down. When you start feeling the clay move down here, that's when you stop pushing. Then we are going to put the clay sideways in our hand, and we're going to push down with our thumb and rotate. Push down and rotate. I'm pushing down on the corner of the clay. So push down and around. And then you can move to the sides and to the top, but you shouldn't need to do much on the top because the edge of your thumb should already have made that into the thickness of a pancake for you. We want a fluffy pancake, not a tortilla thinness. We don't want a nice juicy hamburger. We want a pancake thickness. Okay? Then if we want an oval shaped mouth, then you make it into an oval. If you want it more square, then you can make it more square, like a TV in the 80s. Okay? Then you need to figure out what side we're putting eyes on, how many eyes we're gonna do, and everything you want to add on here. Remember, clay in the elementary school, since we are only here once a week and sometimes we miss classes, it is not a good idea to put legs on like this right now. It just doesn't work in the elementary setting. I told you that last week. But here's my example that I've been working on with other classes. And this one, I did put feet on the bottom to show you that can be done. Since it gets wrapped up all the time, wait for those very little details like my toes are not working well because I've wrapped it up so many times. But you can add teeth, or you can add feet to it to kind of make it stand up a little better. I also like to add a tail to make it stand up because if you don't, it will fall over a lot. So I'm going to show you next how to add the details. All right, fourth and fifth graders, we are going to start adding the details. Every time you put clay and clay together, you need to scratch, 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 water, 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 wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Scratch, 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 water, 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 wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. The correct terminology is slip and score. Slip is like a mud puddle, watered down clay. Scoring are the scratches we put into it. We need to scratch both the big piece and the piece that is little that we are adding onto it. We put slip on both pieces as well. So I have made a little eye that I'm going to put on here. So I need to scratch, 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 getting that dirty water, water. And I hold the bottom, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. So by holding it here, it will support your pinch pot. We wiggle, wiggle, wiggle to take that clay. We scratch it. By wiggling it, it puts it together like this, and we can't pull it apart as easy as if we go like this, or if you just put water and water together, that does not work either, because the water then will make it, once it dries out, it's kind of like water when you put two pieces of paper together. It does not stick together. Okay, so we did wiggle this, and if I held it, it's not going to fall off, but I also want to add a coil, a snake, a piece of clay back here, and then I want to make that line disappear by joining those two together. And then I don't have to worry about them falling apart at all. When clay dries, it shrinks. So a smaller piece of clay is going to shrink at a different rate than a big piece of clay, kind of like two puddles. A big puddle will dry slower than a little puddle. So we want those puddles to become one, so we don't have to worry about them shrinking at different rates. I also am going to put a coil up here and smushing them just on the back side to put together, and that will give me an eyelid. I do this for the lip as well to make it look a little more lippy. And then I can add details like pupils. The more details you add, the better these will look. Yes, you could be done with an eye and teeth, but if you add pupils, it will make it look way better. If you add eyelashes, it'll make it look even better. Okay? Then maybe I will add some teeth. A lot of kiddos ask me how to make teeth. Well, to make triangle teeth, make it into a ball, roll it into an old school carrot, Bugs Bunny carrot, not a baby carrot. And then I flatten it. These two fingers come together like a V. These are flat. Your fingers are the best clay tools you can possibly use. Now, if I put this on here like this, it's a gigantic tooth. So maybe I am gonna cut some of that off. It's still gonna be big, but that's kind of how I like it. Before I put this one, before I attach that on there, I am going to make a second one so they are the same size.